Our next portion of the training for the bronze, part 2, we're going to be looking at the family file, which is going to be this little manila folder with the 2 people. Since we already logged into a patient's chart by clicking that module at the top, it's going to bring us directly into that patient's family file. Just a quick reference here, you have the patient's name, address, phone number, patient status, female, married, guarantor, insurance, and head of household. So that's just saying that this patient is a holder of all of those things. This is some information, their first, last visit, if they've missed appointments, and how many. So that would be something that we would physically mark a missed appointment. And one of the most important things that we need to check for is to make sure that their clinic is correct. So if they're being seen in South Jordan, we want to make sure that that says South Jordan, date of birth, their providers. So this is the doctor, this is the hygienist. And then this here, this fee schedule, is whatever we have forced the default fee schedule to be. Right here is the insurance information. This is where we would find any insurance information entered for the patient. If the patient has an insurance here and we enter a fee schedule into this area, this fee schedule here will override this fee schedule here. So we just want to make sure that we know if we don't understand this, we'll just leave it at the default and it's going to default to this box. To update any of this information, just simply double click in, and that is where you can update any of the patient information that we need to get updated. Employer here is very important. If the patient has an employer, they need to have that entered here. We also have this box where we can enter medical alerts, where we can update for allergies. You just simply hit the red X with the starburst here, and this is where you can enter medical problems. So you can look up medical. This is where you can also enter any medications that the patient is taking, and of course any allergies. And that is where you would enter those. Any prescriptions that we have prescribed would be shown here, as well as you can get to a prescription right there. Moving on, we have the continuing care box. If there's something that is red here, generally that means that the patient is due for that service. We do like you to double check and make sure, but right now this is showing that the patient would be due for a prophy in July and that they would be due for their Panoro FMX March 6, 2014. So it's showing in red because they are overdue for that service. Patient notes can be entered here. Again, just double click if we need to update anything in here, we can. And then here is where we like to update the billing type. So billing types are important. We'll get into more depth in those. A basic information you need for a billing type is double click in that little area. This is where you can switch after talking with your office manager what billing type they like you to use. Generally, they're either on a 1 because they don't have insurance or have a balance, or 3 because they do have insurance. So those are the ones that we like you to generally work with the most. Then moving down here, you have the referred by. So if someone referred them to our office, that would be marked. And then if we've referred them to any other doctors or specialists, that would be entered down here. It's going to show all the family members tied to this account here in the bottom. H of H stands for head of household. So that means any statements that we print would go under this patient's name, and the insurance is tied to them as the subscriber. It also shows married, children, if they're a patient, and their birth date down here as well. We have